And we're live.
I have AMA questions, and I liked this one because it's kind of, it works for everybody, I guess. It says, "What are you currently fixated on? What is the current thing you are fixated on?" That's the question.
Good question.
Right now, besides the like the ancient civilization stuff with that Graham Hancock guy, because I'm still reading Magicians of the Gods. I'm most of the way through it now. Super fucking fascinated by that, and I buy into that completely. With the the civilization just has rebooted. I just believe it now because there's so much goddamn evidence. And I think that if anyone listening looks into Graham Hancock and his books and his theories and his speeches on Rogan, you'll probably agree. It just seems like it happened. So I'm really fixated.
Question about it.
Yeah.
How advanced was the civilization that got rebooted? Right, like we're not claiming they also landed on the moon. Like how far did they get?
No, nobody's claiming that. What they always do is they say they were definitely capable of those megalithic structures because that's all that's left behind. So that's all that we know that they were capable of. If they made anything out of aluminum, for example, it would have just returned to the earth by this amount of time. It would have, if they made anything out of steel, it'd been gone too. But it's
evidence, right? Like if New York City was just, let's say you give it 6,000 years to just deteriorate and turn down to earth and get overgrown with forest or whatever, I think there'd still be a lot of easily found. They're like, ooh, there was a city here.
There would still be a ton of stuff. I think
Lots
the point
of
of the guy
steel.
that Kyle's talking about is more like we get up to a point of like still very low tech, like stoneworking and shit, and then it's wiped off. Like we've never made it to like combining
Cars.
metal types and making
there doesn't seem to be any
big
evidence for
skyscrapers.
that in any of that stuff, that it went that far. And I certainly don't believe that. But what is interesting, and it's something that I don't know very much about, it's with their astronomy. They can definitely tell how advanced their astronomy got based on the way they built things and things that they took into account when making their calendars. And because there's this thing that happens, what's the name? What's it called? It's something about
Full
every
moon.
Nah, it's something that happens over the course of, there's this thing that happens over the course of thousands of years that changes the tilt of the earth, and they knew about it. And the only way they could know about it is if they had a very high understanding of astronomy. It's clear that they knew about it, and I just can't recite to you why it was clear. But they definitely know that they got to a very high level of mathematics, astronomy, and these gigantic structures, and also the stone cutting. Some of the stones that they showed and the way they're cut, they're just cut fucking straight. It looks like a saw blade cut them and then like went too far. There's one stone where there's like, it looks like they made a little bit of a mistake and like the blade went in too far or something like that. And the archaeologists, where I really start buying in is when they say, now let me tell you what the established people say did this. And you tell me which sounds more ridiculous, that some guys did that with bronze chisels and stone hammers, which is their only tools. And what they say that the Egyptians and all those ancient cultures used was a bronze chisel and a stone hammer. They're like, do it. Make one of those fucking blocks with a bronze chisel and a stone hammer and have it be that perfect and that big, and then start working on moving it. I don't know. I've bought into that completely. So I invite anyone else to look into it. I don't want to sound like a raving lunatic or anything. I'm not going to start talking to you about ayahuasca or anything like that, but it really is fascinating. But the other thing that I got into recently is Daniel Day-Lewis. I guess today I went down a whole rabbit hole of Daniel Day-Lewis stuff and started watching. I watched Lincoln 2 nights ago, and that was incredible. I had never seen it before. I've been saving it like a fine wine till I really wanted to watch something amazing, and it lived up to it, I thought. And then I watched The Boxer, which is when he plays a boxer. And I watched it because I'd heard Joe Rogan talk about it and how, like, watch when Daniel Day-Lewis plays a boxer because he's not Rocky Balboa. The shots aren't one guy tees off on the other and then the other guy tees off back. No, it's boxing. He's like, watch how he covers up. Watch how he moves. And then I started watching it. And then I watched him jump rope. There's this scene of Daniel Day-Lewis jumping rope and he looks like Ali or something. It's going, like you can hear a jump rope. There's just a different noise it makes when somebody who knows what they're fucking doing is doing it. And it's making that noise. Really impressed by Daniel Day-Lewis. So those two things are kind of taking up all my time right now, is like being really fascinated by all that Göbekli Tepe stuff and ancient civilization stuff, and also like watching Daniel Day-Lewis movies.
Mine won't come as a surprise to many people, but one thing I've been watching Sopranos. That's my entertainment of choice right now. And I'm almost excited to talk to Kyle about Sopranos. I have some some issues and some questions and such that and if people don't know, Kyle has seen Sopranos many times. He's like a leading authority on it. I've heard him come up with like fan fiction off the top of his head about how the movie should kick off after what seems like a closing scene in the series finale that has no next step. Yeah, like what do you do next?
Oh no, Tony's money's over there in Russia, and we got that guy from the Pine Barrens episode just floating around, that Russian commando. Oh, there's all kinds of things.
Do you see what I'm talking about? So yeah.
Feast.
Anyway, so I've been watching The Sopranos again. That's a thing. And then in paramotoring, of course, paramotor talk, but I did this Icarus race in Florida, and it kind of opened the door to a few new things in paramotoring. First, it was just getting up in the sky and existing in the sky, and that was like amazing to me. And then I started doing some acro stuff, which is like a branch of it. And now I'm going down 2, where I'm 1, learning acrobatics, and 2, getting into cross country. I have a friend who lives... as the crow flies, it's like 30 miles. Now, I'd have to fly a little longer to get around an airport and such, but the thing is, the drive to his place sucks, and it's like an hour, because there's either traffic on one side of this big lake or indirect roads on the other. And I'm like, dude, I should fly to his house, fly with him, and then fly home. That would be like an adventure for me. And I'm aspiring to do it Sunday. We'll see how it goes down.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, so my paramotoring is kind of, going on 2 parallel branches to the next level, and Sopranos is my entertainment.
Yeah.
That's so interesting because I was introduced to paramotoring. I had no idea what it was through you and your channel. I think your some of your vlogs that I've watched are really fascinating about the whole paramotoring. But I thought you were joking at the beginning when you started talking about it on PKA. Like for weeks, I thought.
So did we.
Yeah, I was like, this guy is ridiculous. He's gonna strap a fan on his back and he's gonna fly. Oh my god! And then to see you actually do it and then go through the training, like every other week, I catch a vlog from you, and it's been fascinating. So how was the race last week? You didn't talk about it.
Yeah, we talked about it on PKN, and yeah, it was a little mixed. There were the parts of it we had the drive that I hoped we'd fly, but overall, like the big thing is it stretched me. I flew in weather that was probably worse than I've ever flown before. I flew in midday, and at the end of it, and you fly across the finish line. It was like, yeah, it was a really cool thing for me. And now I'm like, well, shit, I didn't know that I could do that, and then. Things I would pass up because there's no rush, there's no mission, now are like in my wheelhouse. Like, ooh, I can do this. So, good example is Sunday. I think I'm going to fly a little farther and, launch a little sooner than I otherwise would. So, all right. So I don't know why I'm wired this way, but I can't let go of old topics. Taylor and Ahmed did not tell us what they were fixated on.
Oh, I actually, Ahmed, you go first.
Well, I'm sorry, I was...
What are you currently fixated on?
Oh, that topic. I actually can show you.
He has visual aids.
Indeed, I do. This is the book that I've been reading lately, Time of Content.
Tell me more about this book. Is it a fiction book, a nonfiction?
It's a fantasy book. It's a fantasy book that the Witcher games are based upon. The Witcher series. Fantastic
cool.
writing, really great story. So I read the Game of Thrones books about 5 years ago or something, and since then I've been crazy about sci-fi and fantasy. So I've read Dune, I've read a lot of other sci-fi. Dune is great.
Are you excited? They're making Dune again, right?
I know they're making Dune again. That's gonna be great. So and then now I'm waiting for the Winds of Winter. So I'm in the middle of reading Time of Contempt. There are 2 more books in that series that I will be reading. I bought all the books in the series, so that's great.
If you ask me if Ger Martin will die before Winds of Winter came out, I honestly feel like it's 50-50.
Yeah.
It's coming. Has anybody else watched Dune? I want to talk about Dune now.
Yeah, Dune is great.
Have you read or watched Dune? Oh, Arrakis, desert planet.
That doesn't help.
All the craze. it's so good. It's like super far in the, it's like it's like the year 25 or 30,000 or something, and we've mastered like this intergalactic travel using this spice melange that only exists on this one planet called Arrakis, and the whole intergalactic government is like put this one family. It's very Game of Thrones-esque in that it's a family in charge of that planet to like make sure that the spice production continues, because it's like the fuel. It is the only fuel that allows them to bend space and go anywhere they want in the galaxy. It's hyper important. And then like Sting shows up. Sting, like literally the musician Sting plays this character, and like he's from like this planet where their family is all like it's all polluted and shit, and like it's really fucking good. The movie suffers from a lot of pitfalls, but the story is excellent.
The movie was bad, and super young Woody wasn't able to get it all, and they made me read the book in like 5th grade or something, and it must be on like a high school reading level or something. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know, I'm just fucking baffled by this whole thing. I looked at every word. I can't say I really read it, and that's my Dune background.
So Kyle, you've read the books?
No,
only the movie.
They're crazy long, and there's
yeah. No, but there's only one or two official ones. The rest are kind of like a compiled fan fiction. Yeah, canon.
Have you read the books, Ahmed?
I've not read all of them, but only the original Dune. So the original. Where is it?
So does the first book? All I want to know about is Paul Atreides and his story. Can I get that from that book?
Wait a second. I'm drawing a blank.
He's the main character. He's the guy who fucking survives the invasion on Arrakis, and then he goes out in the desert, and
the prince. Yeah. That's in the first book. Yeah. That's in the first book.
Then I'm gonna read it.
I would read it. That's a very interesting book. It's really well written, actually, as well.
I'm excited because I like the old shitty movie because the story is so fucking good. Like that I can abide its shittiness, and it's not complete shit. Patrick Stewart's in there. There's a few like interesting things, like the way they do battle in this future. It's not really laser guns anymore because at some point they created an energy shield, a personal energy shield that we can all wear. And so basically you're walking around with like a belt on that puts a force field around you. And if any projectile tries to enter that force field any faster than like, you could toss a baseball maybe, it's blocked. So the only way to do combat with someone wearing one of these is a fucking knife fight where you get them in like a jujitsu hold and then slowly bring the knife in through their shield and fucking kill them with the knife. It's it's cool.
I didn't want to say this, but I really disliked the movie when I watched it 3 years ago after I read the book. So it's good you already seen the movie, you liked it a little bit, and now you're gonna read the book. It's gonna be good for you.
Yeah,
you're gonna like it.
Yeah, I'm excited about the new movie too. I feel like it's just such a gigantic, like huge tale. So much there to work with. It's
I'll
like
watch it.
I feel like a Game of Thrones fan who knew a little bit about that world felt when they heard that HBO was going to do this. I'm excited about
I'll have to look into that because I can ignore a lot of shit writing and such like shit scenes in a movie if it has a good enough fantasy world that I can kind of immerse myself in. Like I like that a lot.
It's sort of a next level of human evolution that they're talking about that like comes about, and there's a lot going on in this world. There's everything from like, I guess that thing is an alien, that giant fucking slug that they roll into the room in that tank or whatever. Like there's lots of stuff going on in that movie. I would suggest it, even though it's. I'm not suggesting it for the same reason I suggest Lincoln. I suggest Lincoln because it's probably one of the best movies ever fucking made. Won all those Oscars, St. Louis, killing it. But I recommend Dune because it's just a fun ride and it's such a cool story.
Taylor, what are you fixated on?
It wasn't even a big. I when we brought up the fixation topic, I was like, if this misses me, nothing will be lost. Because what I'm fixated on is hockey, because the playoffs are coming up, and I always follow intensely everything about hockey as the playoffs go through, and Magic: The Gathering, because I'm fucking loving Magic. I played with a bunch of friends last night, and I'm introducing lots of new friends that hadn't played it before to it that didn't even know I played, and so it's a lot of fun. I'm so fucking loving Magic right now.
Magic is great, man. I wish I could play with you, man. Magic is so great.
Play online?
So much fun.
Yeah, possible. But
See,
I've never played.
Don't play Chiz. He's got the Tron deck.
Ahmed, you play.
Right?
You obviously play Magic, Ahmed. isn't there just something about the physical cards that buying one online, you would be like, I don't want to buy a good deck online because I can't hold it.
I've never played the online version because every card costs like almost real money, like almost as the real version of the cards. So I played the new version, Magic Origin, I think. It's on everything.
Xbox.
Yeah. No, I played it on Steam, but and on my tablet. So that was okay, I guess, because you pay for boosters and you get a lot of cards and stuff. But to be honest, as you say, like having the physical cards and laying them there on the table, it's such a great game.
I like sharing it with people. Like I like when people come over and they're interested in it, being able to like show a collection and show like just get them more into it, because they'll like have their little shitty starter deck and they'll be like, oh, like just last night I was doing with some friends. I was looking through it. My rare binder. I was just like letting them look through and pick some shit and like put it in their decks. And it's fun to share. It's fun.
Let's show off. What's your most expensive card?
This. People always comment, oh, Taylor does a good job of making sure that the audience that's listening gets a little bit of what's being watched. Not right now. Not right now. Okay, let me find two. I've got Progenitus, who's one of my favorite cards, and Emrakul, the Eon's Torn.
Which one is this?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. This is beast.
This is a $60 card.
60.
I've seen it played.
I'd pay $65.
Chiz,
I probably did. So.
Chiz plays that in his Tron deck. It comes out regularly.
Dude, I don't put this card
you see this?
in. Wait, does he have...
You remember this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Gideon. Do you know how many times I pulled this?
How many
Once.
Gideons do you have?
I have only 2 now, but I sold 2 of them. I pulled 4 in a month.
That's
from
crazy.
2 booster packs.
Is that a Progenitus?
Everyone started jumping around. I pulled 3 from a booster pack and 1 from another. Oh yeah, I love that card.
Is the hollow foil promo kind, so it's like $60.
Yeah.
Protection. Its game text says protection from everything. That's the game text, and so people are like, "Aha! I can circumvent that and go around this." It's like, that falls under the category of everything.
I mean, that card is really hard to set up. I've seen it played against me, but it's so hard to set it up in a perfect situation where you're not low on life and you're not being hit around by artifacts and all that kind of shit. So it has been played against me 2 times, and I've won both times. So because it always
to get it out is you play a cheap artifact like Ornithopter, 0 cost, or you get something to create a creature token. You have a whole deck. I had a deck like this till it was lost in a fucking flood. The only creature in the whole deck was Progenitus, and it was just that and a bunch of red and blue instants. And the whole strategy was to get a know-nothing like artifact creature token on the field, and then sacrifice it with Polymorph, which allowed me to reveal cards from the top of my draw deck and put into play whatever the first creature I revealed was. And it was always this guy. And this guy has protection from everything, and he has 10 attack. So it means you have 2 turns to win the game, otherwise you're going to lose.
Turns,
People don't know this about me. I played Magic for 19 years, never lost my virginity card.
No, that's a good joke. All right, that was enough Magic. But
enough Magic talk. Enough Magic.
But I got to joke that off. But yeah, I love Magic so much.
That joke went better than I thought. I was like, read the room, Woody, read the room. It's not going to work.
Kyle's really killing it on Magic the Gathering online, though.
Really?
I'm having a lot of fun. I lately I've been playing like a mana ramp deck that's mono green, and the whole goal is to get Genesis Wave out for as much as I can. So I'm playing those auras that make each of my lands worth multiples, and then I'm playing like Arbor Elf to untap them and retap them. Cards are about half price online, and you can buy singles, which is what I've done.
Yeah.
So I'll cast a Genesis Wave for like 7x is 17 or x is 20 on like turn 5, and then you just fill the board with cards. It's really fun. But Chiz is just a real cocksucker to
Green
play
is
against.
That's such a fun strategy to
Chiz
play.
doesn't like it when you say that.
I don't
Like,
care.
what's funny is he'll be like, Kyle would be like, Chiz plays a Tron deck and he's the scum of the earth about it or something. And then, like, and I don't know anything. Like, I'm just eating it up. Like, oh, yeah, I guess that's what scum does. And then Chiz will, like, reply with these well-written counter arguments on Skype. And I'm like, well, I guess Chiz is right. He's just playing the game, you know? And,
Yeah, I'm not. Nothing Chiz has done is unfair or anything like that. But what he has done is, you know, he's been a real shithead, and he's made a deck like he's made a deck that you wouldn't make when you're playing against a friend. You kind of made a deck that you'd play against an enemy. You know, it's just a real cunt deck.
It seems like he's doing something that like
Taylor,
is
can
annoying.
You explain this like in an unbiased way to a non-Magic player.
So basically, what it is Chiz is deck teching way too much, and that's annoying Kyle, because Kyle is making a deck, from what I understand, that is going to be a good all-around deck. Like this, I could put it into any situation. My green mana ramp, you said you're just playing, and it'll be competitive. Like I don't want it to be so selective.
I've got like a legit tier 2 burn deck that's
you've got. I was just using that one as an example, but the burn one, you don't make it to beat a specific deck. You build it to be competitive. What Chiz, I assume, is doing is what's also annoying to do in real life is when you play someone and they tech their deck, which means make changes of cards that are specifically against your deck. So it's not two people playing competitive decks that are meant to be played against anything. It's someone took their competitive deck, took out all the cards, like, oh, this is what I would usually run in here, but hey, against his deck, I'm not going to need to worry about in the instance. I'm going to take that out and put something that's all green hate. It's going to be land destruction because that's what he needs. And so it's basically taking a deck and making it solely
we do
for
that
the
against
purpose
each other.
of
To be fair, we do that
I'm
against
just saying
each
that
other.
bothers me, and it's annoying because you can always tell when it's like, oh, okay, so you're playing me with this deck you just revised, and you just played 3 cards that you would never have in the deck unless you knew I was playing a blue deck.
So, Kyle,
so it's not really like you're testing
you guys-
best
Kyle,
decks.
why are
You're
you
just
saying that Chiz is... I forget if you called him a shithead? Scum of the earth might have been what I
Shithead.
called him. I forget.
No,
shithead, scum of the earth.
What is Chiz doing that like, I don't know, like...
I tried to
feel
explain
like
what I
Chiz-
imagined was happening.
You're kind of close. When I purchase cards, it's often to achieve like some mechanic or to make something cool happen because I want to see, like, it's like in Solitaire when you finally win, it goes like, I want that moment where like lots of cool shit happens on the board. And it seems like Chiz buys cards like that goddamn artifact that costs 8 and his life count doesn't change once it's on the board, that are just like, he puts out these pieces onto the board that it's just like, oh, that thing's so hard to
I have
deal
that card over
with.
there.
Yeah.
Like you just put out a thing out there that I really need a niche deck to even deal with the threat that you've created, that you
Platinum
spent like
Empyrean.
And he's got like multiples of them, and so like 2 of them come out, and I'm like, and every time I draw a card, I'm like, okay, if I draw Artifact Destruction, I can kill it, and then I can kill him next turn, because that's what it'll be. I'll have 20 life, and he'll have 1. This happened today. I had 20 life, he has 1, and then he plays a card that makes it so that his life count doesn't change anymore, and then I'm just drawing turn after turn after turn to try to find some of my Artifact Destruction to get that shit off the board so I can put the coup de grace on him, but every time, but he's just further and further putting me into a hole with cards that do things
But
like
Chiz's-
exile my cards or tap my cards.
Chiz's
taking
counter
extra-
argument was that he's playing within the same spending limit that you are. You guys agreed to some spent cap.
Yeah, but that's all out the window.
And he like
man.
showed all his receipts and everything, and he's like, "Look, if I'm winning under the rules we established, then I'm winning."
It's
Like I said, I've got no problem with anything he's doing. He hasn't broken any rules. Like I said,
the initial cost rule.
It's
you guys
like I've got the Maury Povich meme. Like, you say you have no problem, but the fact that you called him a shithead has determined that's a lie.
you don't have to break a rule and keep playing in a way that angers me or I feel is shitty. You know, like just in MMA, there's plenty of fighters who aren't breaking any rules, but goddamn, why you gotta be such a dick? Fuck.
It's more just like when you're playing with a friend for fun, there are certain strategies that when you play them, people don't want to play with you anymore because it's like, okay, the entire purpose of this deck is you're trying to win by frustrating me and making me discard my whole hand or milling me out or full control with blue or whatever it's going to be. Like some of the, like there's ways to play that's totally fine, and it is fine. It's just if you're trying to play with a friend, like if I were to play Kyle one-on-one on my kitchen table, there would be a 0% chance I would take out my Reanimator deck as he took out his in-person deck, and I'd be like, oh yeah, time to see who's better, bitch. Because it'd be like, no, of course I'm going to win. And he's going to be very frustrated the whole time because it's not that he can't win, it's that he has no way to win. Like, he could play it as good as he can, but because I have a deck that's just a different strategy lined up to him, it's going to be better. The same thing with Chiz.
There are
like,
ways to completely
that Tron
shut
deck
down.
is annoying as shit to deal with.
Have you
like,
guys played against Stasis deck?
Stasis deck? No, I haven't been in the meta for a while, so I don't know.
Yes, Woody, of course.
Yeah.
But that is probably the most ridiculous deck you can play against. It's pretty much you don't get to play every time you want to play. They just skip your turn. So there would be 5 turns where you're doing nothing, and the other guy is just putting his green stuff. It's a green-blue mostly. You could go green-red, but mostly green-blue. It's ridiculous. Basically, you don't get to play. So that's even more annoying.
Really, but Kyle's right. It's not
here.
Unfair. It's just a matter of maybe Chiz isn't playing very family-friendly decks.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
Chiz is playing a more smash mouth version of Magic, I suppose. You can put it that way. I'll say this: if we could put it in Civ terms, he's playing fucking Poland every goddamn game, or China. Poland, China, Poland, China, Poland, China, and I'm over there like Brazil. like I'm just having
you're
fun
just trying
sometimes.
new shit, trying new approaches. Anyway,
All right, let me tell you
Babylon,
about.
man.
I love Babylon, but I prefer Poland. Comedy, and that's Civ 5.